He thought the dog just wanted table scraps. He was solving the wrong problem. Cleo was 7 years old, a golden retriever who had been part of the family longer than either of the Abernathy children. She had the specific quiet dignity of an older dog who had seen enough of life to not require constant explanation of it. She slept more than she used to. She moved through the house at a pace that suggested deliberateness rather than age. She had, in the 3 months since baby Rowan arrived, established what Patrick Abernathy's wife Jess called the watch position. Sitting beside Rowan's high chair during every meal, yellow gold eyes tracking the boy's face with an attentiveness that felt, depending on your mood, either sweet or unsettling. Patrick thought it was about the food. Rowan was 11 months old and enthusiastic about everything except keeping food in or near his mouth. Things flew. Things fell. The floor beneath the high chair was a landscape of generosity. Cleo had never received so much without trying. It seemed, to Patrick, like a clean explanation. The dog had identified the high chair as a food source and positioned accordingly. He mentioned it to Jess. She shrugged. She was watching Cleo more closely than she admitted. What Jess noticed, and what she mentioned to the pediatrician at Rowan's 11-month checkup, was that Cleo's watch position had a specific quality she couldn't describe precisely. It wasn't the alertness of a dog waiting for food to fall. It was the alertness of a dog that was doing math, tracking something. Calculating something, the pediatrician, Dr. Lenora Hutchins, listened to the description and then asked, "What are you introducing to his diet right now?" Jess listed the new foods from the past 3 weeks. Scrambled egg at week 9, hummus at week 10, peanut butter, introduced for the first time 4 days ago. Dr. Hutchins set down her pen. She said, "Has the dog's behavior changed since you introduced the peanut butter?" Jess went very still. She thought back. She said, "Yes." The behavior had changed at the first peanut butter meal. Before that, Cleo had sat beside the high chair with her usual calm attention. At the first peanut butter meal, Cleo had moved closer than usual, pressed against the leg of the chair, and had stayed there, nose slightly elevated, for the entire meal. At the second peanut butter meal, she had risen from sitting and pressed her nose toward Rowan's tray once, briefly. At the third meal, she had not left the high chair area until Patrick carried Rowan to the bath. Patrick had been watching food drop behavior. He had been watching the wrong thing entirely. Dr. Hutchins ordered an allergy panel. Rowan's peanut allergy came back as a Class 3 sensitivity, moderate to high. Not the severity that required immediate emergency planning, but the severity that required complete avoidance, epinephrine autoinjector prescription, and a detailed response protocol for school, daycare, and any home with peanut products. Class 3 can escalate. In an 11-month-old who had received a peanut protein dose across 3 consecutive meals, 3 exposures, building sensitization, the risk of the next exposure producing anaphylaxis was real and non-theoretical. There would not have been a visible warning sign before the throat started closing. At 11 months, a child cannot tell you their throat feels tight. Dr. Hutchins said, "The dog noticed a chemical change in his breath after the first exposure. Dogs can detect the immune response compounds before the symptoms are visible to us." She paused. "You're lucky she was paying attention. You were watching the floor. If you stay for stories about what animals sense before we do, you're in the right place. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Has your dog changed behavior at mealtimes when you introduced a new food? Tell us in the comments. These stories belong here. The peanut butter was removed from the house that afternoon. The auto-injector arrived the next day. Rowan does not eat at anyone else's home without a full ingredient disclosure, and he carries the injector in a small belt pouch that he has already started calling his bag with great ownership. Cleo sits beside the high chair at every meal. She is 7 years old, and she has, in the specific economy of an old dog's attention, decided that this is where her hours go. Patrick stopped watching for food to fall. He started watching what Cleo was watching instead. Every guardian deserves to be recognized, even the ones who never asked for anything in return. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe so you never miss the next one.